Pokémon Scarlet and Pokémon Violet did what no other Pokémon game has done before. It gave us a plethora of professors because, well, there's an academy and we are students. Some professors are more memorable than others. I mean, if Salvatore wasn't the one gifting me my boy Berserker, I would probably have forgotten him. But one that we'll always remember is Jacq. And maybe there's something coming that will make Mr. Jacq a lot more memorable. So hey, I'm Not So Ace Trainer and what about our homeroom teacher? Let's get into it. Jacq was one of the characters we were introduced to before the release of the games, and the one that basically told us that there were not just Professor Sada and Professor Turo as the unusual thing for Scarlet and Violet. At first glance, Jacq looks just like the classic airhead teacher that doesn't really care about a lot of stuff, but it does care about stuff. Jacq is the one that warns us about the 6-star raids showing up, and it kinda teases us to deal with them by telling us not to deal with them. He's also a biology teacher, and I am sure that he's also interested in something that can alter a Pokemon's biology like Terra Energy does. That, and we know he worked with Clavel when both of them were not teacher and director, but actually researchers. We know that Clavel worked directly with Professor Sada or Professor Turo, or maybe both, and this happened very likely in what relates to the matters down in Area Zero, at least according to Ryford. And that is probably true, since I can't imagine the professors researching anything but Area Zero, given their obsession and all that. So maybe Jacq was helping down there as well. I say this because Jacq is not only a teacher, but also a developer. The Pokedex app we use on our Rotom phones was developed by him, and it has the data for Paradox Pokemon. Now, this raises a couple questions with different possible answers. The first and way less fun one is that it doesn't matter at all, it is just a way to complete the Pokedex and nothing else. Still, this is something that they could have easily avoided by doing what they did with Berserker, the mightiest Mark Pokemon, or, and more related to what's in question here, Walking Wake and Iron Leaves, the last Paradox Pokemon to be released. They could have simply not given them any Pokedex entries at all for now. So how did Jacq have access to that information? One option would be Sada and Turo are just sharing information, but considering how protective they were about everything, I don't think they would do that, you know, the Paradise Protocol and all that, so they would keep it for themselves. That leaves me with the thought that Jacq somehow studies or knows about these Pokemon, which kinda has to be done through the Scarlet and Violet books if you're not down there in the Great Crater of Paldea. But he also keeps up with the paranormal magazine, the Occulture. In both games, you have the Pokedex entries for the opposing Paradox Pokemon, but they are based on what the Occulture says. I have said what I'm about to say before and even tried to uncover who it was, but the one that writes for the Occulture will be incredibly important for sure. My theory was all before the DLC was revealed, and I think that Turo in Scarlet and Sada in Violet are no longer related to that whole thing. I feel like the Blueberry Academy is likely the place for them. Jacq looks like the kind of guy that would love writing crazy stories, but judging by the way the Pokedex entries are written, is either not writing them at all or trying to hide it. Still, it proves one thing though, the concept of the future Paradox Pokemon and the past Paradox Pokemon exists in both games through that magazine, which means that whoever is doing it knows about the Violet reality and the Scarlet reality. Out of all the characters we interact through the games, there is only one that even touches the idea of multiple realities, and that is Jacq with the gift of the Beast Ball for completing the whole Pokedex. This gift, of course, proves absolutely nothing, since we can get other Beast Balls through the Ace Academy tournament, but it adds fuel to the fire that there's something about him that we don't know yet. For example, hexagons are incredibly important in these games, being directly connected to the whole Terra mechanic through the Terra Orbs, the hexagonal plates mentioned by the professors when talking about the disc Pokemon. And how can we forget Professor Gibble's Ice-type class where Hassel talks about snowflakes, and then randomly reminds us that Jack's classes are also hexagonal. That was so strange that it immediately turned my eyes to our homeroom teacher. And there are 3 other things that when I look at him keep reminding me of different realities and his connection to Area Zero. His hair is divided into 2 different colors, almost as these games are divided into 2 different versions of Paldea, and his ace Pokemon, the Farigiraf, also has a bit of a hiding your true self type of thing going on, with it still becoming its helmet after evolving. That and its sponge in Area Zero, which doesn't really mean it didn't catch a Giraffary outside, but it still reminds me of Area Zero. I was also gonna add interacting with Willow to this thing, but I think that's just an out-of-canon situation and nothing more, since Oak also interacted with Willow from Pokemon Go. Oh, and I almost forgot, the third thing is that in his pockets you see a Scarlet and a Violet book. This could simply not be the actual Scarlet and Violet books, but if they are, they paint Jacq as the only one, proving us that both books exist in the same reality, even if just one copy. Also, that aquarium in biology lab looks like a pretty interesting place where you could, I don't know, keep a turtle that could turn into a gem. Who knows? Still, I don't believe Jacq to be evil at all. I think Jacq is someone that can experience both realities, or at least has knowledge about them, and that might be closer than we are at explaining everything that is happening in Paldea and with the Paradox Pokemon. I wanted to pin him as the writer for the Occulture, but we have absolutely no full date for those articles. The Occulture might not even be a recent magazine, but something written in the past. I wanted to be able to say that he is Heath, but younger, but even the glasses don't match. What I think I can almost surely say is that Jacq is interested in Terra energy, as he likely was researching it as well down in Area Zero, and his field is biology. He likely also looks up to Heath's work, and that might be shown in how he has those 2 books. And having those 2 books is why I believe he is able to go through different realities. In his Pokedex entries for the ones in your version, he references the book because it exists. The other references the Occulture because the book is not supposed to exist in that reality. That way, he keeps what he knows hidden, while he tries to accomplish whatever it is that he's looking for. Again, I don't think he is evil, but like with many other things in these games, I think there is an overarching secret plot that we are not yet aware of, and that likely connects many of the characters that we've been interacting with since we started these games, and only they truly know about what is happening in Paldea, and why it might have all peaked 1.5 years ago. And that is all I have for you today. I wanted to make a video about Jacq for the longest time, and now that news are getting drier and drier and drier, I thought it was the right time. But what about you? Is there any character that you just absolutely cannot trust? You think they're hiding something? Let me know in the comments down below. And now, like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Pokemon content, and also ring the bell so you know when the next video is out. You can follow me on social media and Twitter in there Wednesday to Sunday, not Saturday, or join our Discord. All the links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.